Hi, my name's Don. Welcome back to Project Urtle. In this episode we'll be doing some more bodywork. In this case assembling the ensuite walls, the shower pan and the cupboard in the ensuite. I'm starting here with the back wall of the ensuite. This wall has been pre-cut by Styromax, and you can see that they've mortised some little recesses into the side wall, and in a minute you'll see there are tabs on this panel that goes in here that lock into that. This makes assembly really easy. Where the wall meets the floor, I'm placing strips of 20 by 20 by 1mm aluminium angle to lock this wall in place at floor level. I've been doing this in multiple places, and I find this aluminium angle just really useful for making junctions like this. Now it's time to see whether the shower pan actually fits in the area that I designed it for, and it does, which is quite surprising. I suppose it's not surprising. Then the front wall of the ensuite is next glued on. It has rebates cut to fit the back wall of the ensuite, and you can see the tabs poking out which will lock into the rear wall. One of the design features that I wanted to achieve was the way I've sloped this portion of the back of the camper. Apart from the fact that I like the look of it with that cutaway, I've been able to keep the lower part of the camper back down, basically in line with the tow bar where the back of the chassis is, etc. So that going over a bank in the bush, dropping down into a creek bed or whatever, the first thing that's going to be hitting the ground, if it is that steep, is the tow bar rather than the camper body itself. But in doing that I limited my space, and space is a premium in this build. So I decided from the floor level I would come out in a radius edge there. That gives me about another 150 millimeters of interior length. For instance, in here in the ensuite area, that gives another 150 millimeters of elbow room, if you like. And here in this area, which is going to be kitchen, it's by cribbing 150 millimeters or 200 millimeters inside on the floor and the 150 millimeters outside in the bulge, I'm getting a cupboard and a bench top that's around about 350 millimeters wide, about a foot, a little over a foot wide, which is useful cupboard space and gets me a bench without using up a lot of interior length. And the wash-up sink will go here. In this area I'm currently building and probably install it tomorrow a cupboard that runs up to about this height. It'll only be about 250 millimetres deep. It'll have a wash hand basin in the top of it and a door in the front that'll give access into this space here, which will be largely taken up with a hot water system, drainage from sink, water supplies, some electrical supply, but also a shelf where toiletries and small items used in the ensuite can be stored. The door will be the same as the doors on the outside of the vehicle, so that it's watertight, and giving it a spray with the shower is not going to hurt it at all. Okay, well, this is an exercise in fiberglass aided design. This is the front of the cupboard that is going to call it a vanity unit in the ensuite, and it has to do a number of jobs. It has to hold the hot water heater, obviously a hand basin on the top, and everything needs to be accessible without being blocked by the toilet. So, some data. That's the top of the edge of the shower pan. The floor inside of the shower pan is actually down here. The toilet is going to sit on the floor, and that's that profile. So I can't have a cupboard door that's behind that toilet, because the toilet is only about 25-30 mil away from that wall. So a cupboard door really needs a bit of clearance off there, a bit of clearance off the top of the toilet, some clearance away from the sidewall, and some clearance down from the bench top. The bench top is sort of sitting up here like that. So then I have a little hot water heater, hot water tank, that is going to sit on a shelf that's going to run through here, sitting out there. The hot water system is only a 6 litre hot water system, and that's going to sit on top of that shelf. Then sitting in there, mounted through the hatch, there will be the toilet paper holder that's water resistant, so you know, nothing worse than soggy toilet paper. And then coming through the shelf, the bench top up here, is the hand basin. So I just mocked all this up, drawn this all up so that I can see, will that interfere with the hand basin bowl? Will that interfere with the hot water system? Will I be able to reach the controls on the front of the hot water system? The shelf itself is sitting down below the bottom lip of the hatch, which means I can store things in here. Bottles of detergent, things like that, toiletries. And when you open the hatch, they won't fall out because they're sitting down there. So I think everything's going to work. It's time to cut out this hatch door and do my first door jam.
So after marking the door on the other side of the panel, I cut that out, forgot to film it, and then I was able to start cutting the door jambs material. It's aluminium extrusion, and again I didn't film it, but I trimmed that cutout door so that I had a rebate cut into it that fits into this extrusion. Then it was simply a matter of gluing the extrusions to the outside of the door. Again, I got tied up in the job and forgot to film, but you can see now I've got that cupboard front glued in and its door jamb set in place, and now I'm putting in some aluminium extrusion angles to support the interior shelf in that cupboard. Having got that shelf glued in place, it's time to put the aluminium extrusions around the shower door opening. Again, this is quite a simple job. The extrusions are one of Styromax's proprietary extrusions, and they work a treat. In this case, the door is going to have to open outwards. There's no room inside of the ensuite compartment for a door to swing inside, and that's going to create a little bit of an issue because the door won't seal terribly well, and there could well be the odd splash come out through the door around the jamb when it's in use.
Thanks for watching. In the next episode we'll put the back wall into place and finally have the body looking semi-finished.